intervention in the form of false support. When our children are indoctrinated to rebel against parental traditions and societal norms, they're acting on a false sense of fear. We must counter that narrative by instilling values of the past, values that we were brought up with, that have us questioning now what's going on in our world. We can't be afraid to stand up and voice our concerns. Without the strong support of family units and community strength, our children are psychologically and morally underdeveloped, thus resulting in the ability for evildoers to prey upon them and indoctrinate them into the evil ways of a new world order. On education, how have they divided us? They've infiltrated the education system, teaching our children what to think rather than how to think. Modern education has eliminated history, religion, and good manners, and instead it focuses on social experiments and individualism. Think Common Core in the schools, Common Core math. Think climate change, think non-gender washrooms, think safe spaces, and student walkouts for political ideology, just to name a few. Education standards now produce obedient workers rather than independent thinkers. We need to get involved with our school board elections, ask the critical questions of the candidates, and support those who desire a fundamental change to our education system. On the issue of sexuality, family is further fractured with the introduction of sexual freedom without consequences. This concept developed slowly over time, from the 60s and 70s to right now. First, by introducing a pill to allow sexual freedom and media to expose the independence of women, breaking from traditional roles where nurturing and caring were natural and right, to now a role where independence and self-identity is a good thing. Over time, the idea of sexual freedom has developed to the point that we're allowing into our children's education that men can have periods, and that the transitioning of children into the opposite sex is just and right, and parents who disagree can now be jailed. That men can be women and women can be men, where the issue of consent is highly publicized, yet the accountability has been greatly reduced through legislative changes. Where pedophilia is rampant in our society and media is trying to normalize it to make it appear as a sickness rather than a crime. Just some examples from social media. You will, if you're on social media at all, you see these images everywhere. On the right is a toddler in fishnet stockings. On the left is an article that talks about how women are happier without children or a spouse. They are trying to fracture our families, and we need to put this on the table and discuss it. Where pedophilia is being normalized. I don't think I even have to talk about the picture on the left. Folks, we have lost our morals. We've lost our moral compass. Social media is promoting this garbage and we're allowing it. We need to stand up and demand that social media remove the garbage, quit buying the magazines, quit supporting the corporations that promote this garbage. Political correctness has now evolved to a point where we're afraid to say anything contrary to what this propaganda is telling us. And we need to turn that around. Remember, unity, morality, and truth. On the social support system, they've also infiltrated the support system. They install young professionals who've been taught empty and ineffective theories. Those social systems have us believe that they're protecting our children when in fact they're assisting in the breakdown of our family unit. All of these changes are done under the pretense of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, respect for individual rights over societal or group norms. This creates a society where individual is inherent and must be respected and nurtured. Community rights are self-destructing and the rights of the majority are being ignored. We need to turn this around. The indoctrination of our children leads to family misunderstandings and separation. Because each of us can't see the logic in any other's belief. I'm going through that right now with my daughter. What I see as the truth is not what she sees as the truth, and it creates a lot of friction in our family. Breakdown occurs and it causes each to seek solutions outside of the home environment, and this creates a surge in dependency on the social supports. It increases the use of alcohol and drugs and crime, divorce and abortion and suicide. It keeps the cyclical nature of the system churning and growing. We're taught to seek care in a corrupted social net rather than to rely on our own families to support and nurture. The strengthening of our families and communities would prevent this spiral into destruction. It's pulling our youth down, folks, and we need to change the direction of that starting today. So we talked about this a lot over the last couple of days, and what this idea is if in general you're content with your lot in life, you've got a job, you've got a family, you've got maybe a boat and you can go on a couple of vacations a year, you don't seem to realize what's going on in the world around you. It is only those people that have been up against the system that are now waking up to the destruction that the system is causing. So our jobs today are to go out there and show people the destruction, teach them what's going on in the world, so that they can too wake up and see what we see. We need to, as a society, help all those to see what's transpiring around us, and we need to do that in a way that doesn't make us appear crazy or as conspiracists, that's a hard word, but rather show them through facts and validation, truth and morality. We need to bring the truth to light. A nation that produces strong youth, a society that's cohesive and grouped around common ideals, communities that are developed with strong morals can support and ward off anything that's coming at us. We need to unite. We need to boost and support those leaders in our community who seek to strengthen our morals, who envision a united front, who allow truth to the forefront, and who support our marginalized citizens. At a grassroots level, unity will provide us with the strength to combat world order. Each of us needs to go out into our community and fight for truth, fight for justice, and fight for what we know is right. Know your neighbors, discuss current issues, and solidify our resolve to turn things around. Other things we can do is support local businesses, support your local farmers, boycott industrialized production and corporate autocracy. Stand up for national pride. Stand up for our flag and our national anthem. National unity will weaken any plans to further divide our country. Question your media and support alternative medias who are trying to bring the truth to light. Question those elected in your community who are supposed to represent the needs of the majority, not the wishes of the few. Expose paid mercenaries for what they are. Find the source of their growing movement and seek to expose this. Deal with facts at all times and keep opinions aside. Facts are the only truths that can be realized without confrontation. It's up to us, not as individuals, as we've been led to believe, but as a community, as a family, to unite for common cause and make our world a better place. So I can envision a Canada whereby we're safe and secure in our homes, in our communities, and within our borders. I can envision a Canada where we have access to efficient and affordable health care, where teachers teach us how to think, not what to think, where we have the right to participate in matters that affect all Canadians, where we have equality for all, not special privileges for few, where we have a fair and just payroll system for elected officials and a just and fair pension plan for those same elected officials, where all provinces are equal under the Constitution and Federation, where we have an effective and results-driven environmental program, where corporations are held to account for their part in damaging our lands, where we support the Bank of Canada, the only real bank that belongs to the people. Every other bank is a private bank. Where we have free borders within our country and we're free to travel from province to province. No restrictions on licenses. Where we have equality and justice and we have the ability to grow food or fish or raise chickens or drive as we see fit. No heavy restrictions in licensing. And where we have the ability to foster ideas and develop genius minds. Remove those restrictions from the patent offices. Am I just a dreamer? Is there anybody else, by a show of hands, who hold these same ideals? I think everybody does. How many of you care enough to take action to hold this government to account, to help us spread the word of a de jure society? Yes. How many of you care enough that you're willing to take an active part in forming a new way of governing? Yes. With that, I'm going to leave the final words to Jeff.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll now announce the Stanley Cup winner for 2019. No, wrong show, sorry. But I will take an excerpt on the next slide from a movie that was well known from the 1990s that probably all of you have seen 27 times. I've only seen it once. If you built it, they will come. That's a film with Kevin Costner, Field of Dream. There was also a song, Imagine, by John Lennon. The poor guy was killed for this type of song. Imagine a world where, you know, we don't mess around and we could all live in peace on this planet. So that's a dream that's possible if you just wish to take it. If we all dream together, it's something that is possible. So next one is also a picture. I was taken off my good friend Google. It shows Falcon Lake, Manitoba, which is where we are right now, and you can't see it, you people watching this this broadcast or watching this on my YouTube later, but right across the line of tree there is the RCMP station. They're about 200 meters from here, so if we've done anything illegal today, they would have stopped us a long time ago by now. Of course, we went by them several times. They know exactly who we are. We've presented them ourselves directly to their office, to their headquarters. There's so if you think that we've done anything illegal, well, your belief is once again contrary to fact. We are freely assembling here and using our freedom of association, freedom of speech, freedom of thought, opinion, freedom of press, and not freedom to oppress, by the way, but that's pretty much what we have now when you're watching the mainstream Mockingbird. So if you wish now, we're going to make sure that we put forward the remedy that we started 2 years ago with the claiming of the Crown of Canada from Great Britain. It's been 2 years. Denis has been a wonderful king for us. The main factor for me to wish to be part of that, especially with a leader, is that first he didn't want to be there, so that I think qualified itself in itself. It gives him great qualification for being a good king or a good head of state of Canada, as I prefer to say it. I don't really use the word leader. And second of all, he doesn't know the extent of the power of the King of Canada, so therefore he cannot abuse them in any way, shape or form. In other words, he's not educated into the job, but he's been at it for 2 years. He's the only Canadian-born sovereign that we've ever had in the story on the long history of this country, which dates back more than 150 years, because there were people before there were people, apparently. They called them native. They've done a good job at managing the land for all this time. I think we can all follow these examples from the people that were there before us, like Maureen said. Get back into strong morality, abide by the truth. We should not run into any problem. None of us here, and I can talk mainly for myself, but none of us here has profited from this. Quite the opposite. We've all put money on the table to make this happen. Our own money. We didn't steal it. We didn't lie. We didn't fraud to get it. Some worked their ass 18 hours a day for the bulk of their life to do that, to collect this money, and to be able to turn these things around. So you're more than welcome with your free will, but only if you are of good intent and good art. There are some bad apple in the basket. We don't want to have anything to do with you. We'll expose you for what you are. If you're a liar, if you're trying to pretend that Canada is anything but a constitutional monarchy, well, to hell with you. You can go and take a flight one way, Air Canada. When we are done with that, Air Canada is our airline, and we'll gladly provide it to you for free so you can have your republic anywhere else in the world. Christmas Island's a good place. So yeah, have fun if you believe in Santa Claus. As for ourselves, the De Jure Society has been going on for 2 years now. There were some things that were illegal, so if the king orders anything to the government to stop, it's because they're illegal. It's not because he necessarily need to decide by himself. These things were illegal, so a simple proclamation will do, and I'll read you these two now. Actually, is there two, or is there only one? Yeah, there's only one. So on this day of grace of January 30th, 2019, so that's almost 6 months old already, by the royal prerogative entrusted to me and by order of Denis First, or Denis Premier, King of Canada de Jure, I hereby declare the participation of Canada in the private organization listed below invalid as signed by the de facto government. First, the United Nations. Second, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Third, International Monetary Fund. Fourth, the Bank of International Settlement. And fifth and final, the World Bank. Order is given to you to obey immediately, and that was signed also by the Governor General of Canada de Jure, Angèle Prince, hereby present. Donc en ce jour de grâce du 30 janvier 2019, par la prérogative royale qui m'a été confiée et par ordre de Denis Ier, Roi du Canada de Jure, je déclare invalide toute participation du Canada aux organismes privés énumérés ci-après, tels que signés par le gouvernement de facto. Nations Unies, Organisation du Traité de l'Atlantique Nord, Fonds monétaire international, Banque de règlements internationaux et Banque mondiale. L'ordre vous est donné d'obéir immédiatement. And now what's going to happen next, we're going to take a break, but before, or after, sorry, we take a break, unionized break, I guess. We're going to read the Constitution, so the delegate here from each and every province know what they're signing into. So that basically, if you didn't read it, you'll know about it. If you have ever read it before, that's going to be a refresher, because you know exactly what you're into. And right after this, so to this historical date, on the day of grace of today, what date are we? June 15th, 2015, from Falcon Lake, Manitoba. We are going to sign the following Act of Union, which was redacted a few months back with the help of Angèle and Maureen, hereby present. The Act of Union of Canada goes as follows. We, free citizens of the province of so-and-so, each and every one of you will sign under the name of his province. We openly express the desire, the free will, as well as the purpose to contract a free union in the Kingdom of Canada de Jure for the aforesaid province under the Constitution of Canada from 1867 to 1982, as per the dispositions stipulated in it, as described at the Conference of Quebec, so that'd be in 1864, as well as the resolution of the aforesaid conference of October 10th, represented under Legislative Federal Assembly, with all the province of Canada united at the bosom of the Federation. Moreover, it is clear that the aforesaid Federation is constituted under the Crown of Canada, with affixing the Great Seal of Canada under the Great Seal of the aforesaid province by and for all the citizens of the country called Canada, born in Canada for the common good, as well as for the right government under a form of a public society non-registered. Therefore, I freely and willingly sign for the name of the citizen of the aforesaid province the actual official act of union in the bosom of the Federation of Canada de jure.